kicking, never quitting. Focus sharp like a blade that's hitting. From white belt dreams to the master flow, Paul Coffey's got the mic, now the stories grow. Technique entails discipline and fire. Each guest brings truth to inspire. Keep kicking, step into your power. Keep kicking, moment to the hour. Every strike, every fall, every rise. It's a journey through a warrior's eyes. Old school, new school, all styles blend. From the mat to the mic, where the arts ascend. Philosophy deep, but the vibe stays tight. Martial minds meeting in the podcast light. Keep kicking, step into your power. Keep kicking, moment to the hour. Every strike, every fall, every rise. It's a journey through a warrior's eyes. Keep kicking. Keep kicking. Paul Coffey leads and the journey begins. Paul Coffey leads and the journey begins. Technique entails discipline and fire. Each guest brings truth to inspire. Keep kicking, step into your power. Keep kicking, moment to the hour. Every strike, every fall, every rise. It's a journey through a warrior's eyes. Keep kicking. Keep kicking. Paul Coffey leads and the journey begins.
Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to Keep Kicking, the martial arts podcast, where I have martial conversations with my martial arts friends. Today, I sit down with Nick. Nick has been on Whistlekick Radio, and Nick is one of the friends that I met in Martial Summit. Because he's been on Whistlekick Radio, we're not going to go into his background as in-depth. That podcast episode will be linked in the show notes. Nick, would you like to introduce yourself to the people, maybe give 2 or 3 sentences on your background, just so that we have a jumping off?
Sure. So, Nick, my last name's Acri. I've been training martial arts for over 30 years at this point, which is insane to me. I laugh. I'm like, it's my longest relationship ever. So, yeah, I have my own studio. We're actually celebrating 15 years on January 3rd. So I've been really working hard to get we're having an open house and a celebration for that day. It's like great that it falls on a Saturday, so it's like all these great things are aligning. Like this 15 years, 15 years is gonna, I'm not telling myself, like, yes, it's going to be different. It's going to be a better, awesome year. So like I'm excited for this year. So we're gonna kick it off with a bang. But yeah, I've been training for 30 years. My base art is Tung Sudo. I have a Qigong, or since I'm a Korean practitioner, a Qigong background as well. But yeah, so not to get too far into the background, since we did that on Whistlekick, but yeah, that's the general background.
Okay, so I actually wanted to start with this 15 years, because we're Facebook friends, and I've seen you do a lot of posting and self-reflection, and the story of 15 years ago, you starting the school during what was a tumultuous or rocky point in your life.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to dive a little bit into that because I have some questions related to that. But you want to tell any bit of starting your school?
With not getting into specifics, there was a lot of, because I mean, the names and timelines have been changed to protect those identities, or whatever disclaimer that you have to use on these podcasts for this stuff. So I'm not even going to be super specific on the whole thing, but I was going through a major relationship thing. There was a lot of turmoil surrounding that. It was also right around the time where I was going to get there was talk of me getting my invite to take that next step to Fourth Dan or Master's Clinic. It was a big thing. And it was that in addition to, and were they unrelated? No, it just seemed like this weird timing where I'm getting invited to go to test for higher rank, Not that I wasn't the cause of some of it. Like, let's be honest. It was a relationship thing. Everybody involved was involved. But it was
Right,
just,
right.
I was bouncing around school. Like I was going from one school to another because of some of those
Mhm.
reasons.
Mhm.
And then I had an opportunity to open up a studio underneath somebody else because they were branching out. That didn't work out. So like
Mhm.
that part's in the story too. And there's again there's without mentioning names or factors, it just wasn't in
Mhm.
the cards. And so I
A lot
felt
of
like,
doors closing.
like what else of us is that have karate schools do? Let's be honest. We open up schools so we can train and have a
Mhm.
place to train. Home gym isn't always and we do love teaching, right? So that's part of it. We want to see our our passion kind of become our profession.
Mhm.
But zero business knowledge. I mean, I was a martial artist, and like I just knew that I'm really good at figuring things out. I'm
Mhm.
stubborn as all hell, and
Mhm.
like I was gonna get it done. So
Mhm.
when the school didn't really work out, like underneath somebody, it was like I kind of went back to one of my other instructors, and he's like, I have no place for you. It was an interesting speech. I don't want to make it sound cold, but it was definitely given in a way of like a father being like, you can visit here, but you're not living here. So that was like his
Mhm.
clear message, like you left to go here, now go and now go do it. So I'm like, fine. So then when I found like where I was gonna kind of plant myself to
Mhm.
start, it was actually in the same vicinity of where I started with my very first instructor anyway. It's like I took back his because he stopped teaching
Yeah.
and doing all that and didn't have a studio. And like it's like I took that territory back, so to speak. And like that was interesting too. Like I'm just coming back here. Like this is where like I trained for so long. So it was a lot of interesting stuff going on that
Mhm.
had sometimes I think like had I come to my senses, maybe I wouldn't have done it. Maybe I would have stuck with the 9 to 5. But like I don't think I would, even with all the craziness like that. That's what shaped me, and I wouldn't have. I won't go back and trade it because who knows where I would end up now. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Like, would I
Mhm.
have this school? Would I have the relationship that I have now? Would I be as strong as I was if I didn't deal with all that stuff? And it's easy to go back and go, oh, all that stuff sucks. But at the same time, like I can honestly say I was forged through a lot of fire. Like
Mhm.
I've been through some
So
shit. Like, and we all have. But I think that's kind of like the thing with Jane. For me, it kind of be, and now at this point, as I reflect, it's become this thing like we all go through shit, and we need that
Mhm.
like that one corner, that one central thing. And
Mhm.
martial arts has always been that thing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, and it talks back like anybody in a relationship, but like if you listen to it,
It
you you
sure
you
does.
you end up it is right. If you don't listen, what happens? You end up like laid up for a week. You don't get to train. You're miserable anyway. But if you listen to your body, if you listen to your training, if you listen to the where it's going, it sticks
Mhm.
with you. And then, yeah, you'll have your disputes and your arguments and like I don't want to do this anymore and this is stupid. Like, and that's what kind of why I call it a relationship. Like out of all the relationships I had, like this one, I've stuck to it somehow and grown and molded with it. I feel like everybody should have that type of martial relation, like that type of training thing, because it's like one of the most honest things. It's just you, but it's still a relationship.
That's one of the best analogies that I have heard for that, you know? Steve said at a martial summit, he said, we will never be able to give back to martial arts what martial arts has given to us, but we can try. And that resonates with me as well. But also the idea that martial arts is a mistress resonates with me. I've actually, what's funny is you bringing it up that way. I have always said to anybody that I date, I will only cheat on you with kung fu.
But to
That is,
that regard though, I've seen so many instructors and studio owners like lose and just like have relationships just get like ruined because of it too.
Mhm.
So like that's something else I've learned through like I've missed out on family things. I've missed out on like, loved one things that were friends. I've missed out on like other major events because I was dedicated to. And was it always the right decision? Maybe not, but again, hindsight is 2020, so you don't know.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's something I've had to learn to do as well is like, yeah, if I want this to not be lonely in my entire life and just to just have this be my only mistress, like I have to learn how to let it integrate. And that's like the do part or the Tao part of like all the martial arts that have that at the
Mhm.
end, right? Like that's the path, that's the way. It's not meant to
Mhm.
be by itself, it's meant to be with everything else.
Mhm.
So that's been a huge process for me is just like I'm good at like just buckling down and ignoring the world. Like I'm a really good introvert. I'm a extrovert. I need some work. Like when I go to Summit, I have such a great time. But I almost get this, like I mentioned to Craig the first year I went, like, is there this weird drop after you go to this thing? You're like all excited and like you're learning all these cool things and meeting all these cool people. Like, but like a couple days after when I get home, I'm like, this is life again. Because you're
Yeah.
in it and you're excited, you're doing the martial things, and then you're
Right.
back in it. But
Yeah.
but that routine is important too. Like you need that stability of that routine.
That's for sure. Andrew or Jeremy asked me if I could, like, now that you've experienced Marshall Summit, what is your review? And my review was, this is what most of us who are martial artists would do year round if money wasn't an issue.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If money
Yeah.
wasn't an issue, we would
Right.
just literally travel and
Yeah.
get in groups and share knowledge,
Mhm.
rinse and repeat.
Absolutely.
See you next week in Florida, buddy. Tap on the
Oh
shoulder.
yeah. I got a buddy in Brazil. Just fly down there, have a little vacation and a training session. It would be awesome.
Yes. So starting a school 15 years ago, did you think that it would make it 15 years?
There were days. There's still days. I don't know. Yeah, there's always every once in a while where that kind of like, oh, I'm gonna have to shut this down, or like, great, now I have to get a part-time job again. Like, as I've had part-time jobs throughout it, uh, and there's times when I might not have had one, and I probably should have, but I'm trying like, and it's an energy thing though. Like, where do you devote your energy? And one thing I've noticed is the more focus energy I devote into the studio, the better it does versus splitting it everywhere else. I mean, and I think I don't know what I know I mentioned it in one of my blogs, but like I'm always feel like I'm really good at multitasking, and like I've heard people say like, you can't multitask, and I call them liars every time. Like, you multitask every day of your life. Like, your brain literally does multiple things at a time. It's like whether or not you're paying attention to all those things that it's doing, you're doing it. I can multitask projects. But the truth is, and for everyone, it doesn't matter how good you are at multitasking, you're still taking away from attention from all those things. Right. And that's like same with your martial training, right? If you focus on the entire form, you're missing out on the improvement you can make on like that one move that might be huge. And it's kind of the same thing with it. Like, if I'm all over the place, like, yeah, I might be moving, but if I put my focus into that one thing or grouping of things, so to speak, that has to do with that one thing, it always does better. Right. And again, that's a martial concept. Like, we know this. Like, we've proved this through training. We understand how that works. So I think that's why I get like really frustrated sometimes when I go, great, like, the business side of it isn't doing well. Like, I've got to buckle down and get a job that's going to take my focus away from that. And then it's like, got to be really disciplined, not because like I hate working for people. I hate it so much. Sorry, Jeremy. You're probably like one of my favorite employers. He's hearing this. He's like, rah, 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 rah. I mean, and it's, I don't know. I don't know if it's like I don't like being told what to do. And it's weird. Like, I did martial arts for so many years, but yeah, but the goal of martial arts isn't to be told what to do for your entire life. It's to learn. It's to learn your own path. So, and maybe that's always kind of been ingrained into me. Like, I'm really good worker. I'm really good at following instructions. I'm really, really efficient. Do you ask any one of my bosses? But if you ever ask like any past ones, like, was he happy working? No, I'm not. Like, and I think that's the other thing that kind of pushed me, and that drive is like, I didn't want to be one of those people that hates their jobs. I didn't want to be one of those people. And it's like, it's no way. I mean, my worst day here is still better than one of the best days I've ever had at a job. You know what I mean? So like, those themes tend to like to drive me even at the worst. Like, well, at least I'm not pushing pencils at for somebody else. At least I'm like, at least I'm frustrated at my own laptop instead of somebody else's cubicle. And those things help. But like, did I constantly think that like I would be, would I make it to 15? I don't know. I never really thought about it until it like happened. Like, the 10-year thing was the same thing. It's like, holy crap, it's been 10 years.
Good.
And it's
well, that's good, because you want to be present in the present moment.
And I don't like celebrate like I celebrate my birthdays too, but like I never really thought of them. Like, I never make this big deal out of them either. Like, people like celebrate their birthday months. Like, I'm lucky if I acknowledge my day. Like that, I spend more time thanking people for happy birthday me on Facebook than like, realizing it's my birthday, because it's just another day that I'm on the planet. Thankfully so.
Okay. Right. So a couple of things here. One, what is the largest lesson you have learned over the 15 years? And what is the largest lesson you have learned the 15th year?
Holy cow. Largest lesson I've learned over the 15 years. I think the largest lesson over the 15 years is just the more adaptable I am,
Mm-hmm.
like the better things seem to go. And those that know me, like I'm relatively rigid. Like once I have my headset, like that's something I worked on. And I think that's what like the having the business side has helped me a lot with is like, yeah, my way might be pretty good, but like maybe I can adjust my way as I go. And I think that's like the adjustable path. Like usually, um, like for instance, like I'll set like my sights on a goal. Great. But I also have like how I want to get that goal done. So I think
Mm-hmm.
like for the 15 years, I've learned to be better with adjusting the method or the path of the plan to get to the goal and being a little bit more okay with how that turns out.
Mm-hmm.
And then that has to do with like a lot of that me being trying to be more present, right?
Yeah,
Because
for sure.
it's the looking into the future that gives you that constant anxiety. Like, oh, is this going to turn out right? Is this going to, like, I'm doing all this thing. Like, and nobody wants to have their work turn into something that was a waste of time. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that like in through these like the 15 years is learning to become more adaptable to my plan towards the goal
Mm-hmm.
as I'm going along
Okay.
for that. And I'm still doing it. Like I'm still trying to figure it out because
Sure.
again, isn't that the goal of life? Like we're here to figure things out. We're not here to get there. We're here to enjoy it along the way.
We own the journey. We don't own that final destination.
Right. Right. As far as this year in general, that's a tough one. It's a little bit these I think that the biggest piece of growth that I've had and this is like I've had to work with and I think it's it's I it might reveal my control issues, but the lesson to learn how to let go and let delegate. Like
Mm-hmm.
cuz you run things by yourself for so long, like you know
Mm-hmm.
how the things work and like whether it's like the business side or the teaching side, but I've gotten much, and I feel like I'm giving myself credit here, and this is another thing I suck at, but I'm giving myself the credit. I've gotten a lot better at allowing others to help, to delegate, and to do that. So like that lesson
Good.
has been
That's
like the
right.
biggest one of this year. It's been going this way, but this year has been like one of the ones where I've done the most like letting go for other people and allowing to help me,
Mm-hmm.
and
That's
just
great.
realizing like yes they want to help and they're able to, and all and it just need to give them a little direction, but they're there. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that was the biggest one for this year to help me do that was to just kind of let go, so to speak.
Great. Last question on business, then we're getting into martial arts. If you
Excellent.
could go back in time and you could give yourself advice 15 years ago before opening the school, what advice would you give?
Dude, go rob a bank first.
Okay.
It's oh God, I hate to say it. Most of my
That's
struggles have revolved
I have
around capital. You know what I mean?
I
It's just and it's like I joke about robbing a bank, but like honestly, and that's most people are like, duh. Like, yeah, of course it's money. But like, how many awesome things could we all accomplish if it weren't for like that little thing holding us
right.
back? That made up stupid
Right.
thing that humans do that they
The
thought that was
fake piece of
we
the
were so
paper.
smart for making this up, right? And I can list a couple others and hope and it may or may not offend people, but like I say this all money is the stupidest thing we could have invented. The dumbest thing. People are like, oh no, look at all the why? But we're killing each other over it. We're stressing over it. We're not doing the things we want. We're making it for somebody else. And I think that's what's hard for me with like the martial side as we're kind of segueing into the martial arts part is like, yeah, I like to eat and I want to keep the rent and like I don't want to have to stress about that stuff though. What I want to do though, like what the really goal of the school is to provide people with a way to enrich their lives, right?
Right.
Like it's
Right.
just on the physical end. It's great physical activity. It strengthens your muscles. It keeps you flexible. It keeps you mobile. You got the
Mm-hmm.
mental, it provides that mental focus. It releases all those happy chemicals into your brain while you're
Mm-hmm.
doing it. You have a sense of community, right? The longevity in your life, you're going to enjoy your years much longer,
Mm-hmm.
right? I got to charge people so I can eat too and enjoy my years much longer. But like if it
Mm-hmm.
weren't for all of that, right,
Right.
I'd still be doing the thing because I enjoy it. But
I
it's I think
had an instructor.
that's why I say like rob a bank, dude, because you need a
I
lot.
had an
You need a lot to, and small businesses don't get as much help as
right.
some of those other bigger
They
guys
don't.
do.
They don't. I had an instructor who said that the worst thing that capitalism has ever done to society is that it made things like martial arts. He didn't say just exclusively martial arts, but he said it made things like martial arts become businesses.
I said
You know what
actually to
I'm saying?
somebody else. I think I might have said it to Jeremy, and it's because I was and for something else, and he mentioned it was part of a larger discussion. But like I mentioned that I fear that because of the way things are going, at martial arts is becoming in a way a little elitist.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I mean, there's some aspects of it that if you don't have the dough or the travel time or the opportunity, like, if you're a tournament
Well,
person,
yeah.
there's a lot of, if you want to go to all the cool seminars, and we're all charging because we have to live and survive and do, nobody's
Mhm.
coming to the instructor's house anymore to clean up his yard so he could teach them a lesson, right?
Mhm.
It's like everything else. We got to just fork over some dough so we can go buy my groceries later. But what I really don't want to see it become, though, is like I feel, if we have this mission of like wanting everybody to do martial arts in some way or try it out, like
Mhm.
it has to be accessible. It has to be accessible for
For sure.
everyone in some way. And I sometimes I fear that it starts to get to a point where it's getting a little elitist. And then that
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't like that. It kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
For sure. For sure. Okay, so now we pivot.
Excellent.
This is the hard question that I've been asking a lot of people. So I started this podcast over a couple of different things. The first thing was I had an instructor that I would really like to have had a conversation with, but he passed away. And it was kind of like, I was like, hey, I wonder if somebody is having conversations with martial artists. I did about 2 seconds worth of homework on Google and couldn't find anybody. And that was enough for me to go, yeah, I should do it. So that I started doing it. Couldn't find Whistle Kick in that 2 second little look. So I think I was just like, martial arts interview podcast. Nothing popped up. Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah. That's all the
So, but
validation you
anyways,
need.
yeah, that was it. So that's
Yeah,
what
but if you would have
started
got
it.
a lot of those, who knows? You wouldn't have done this.
Yeah, that might be true. But the second thing is also the same reason that we teach. We teach so that we can throw our technique at people and get different perspectives, right? So the question starts with an omission. As a lifelong practitioner of martial arts, I recognize that I myself am equal parts sadistic and masochistic. I also realize that I am mostly in the minority, and the average student that comes through a martial arts school doors is not that.
Mm-hmm.
So then the question is, how do you teach nonviolent individuals to speak the language of violence?
Yes, and that's a good question, and it's funny, kind of the way you present it, because like I remember one of my first instructors doing that kind of whole thing, like, back in those days, you got the snot kicked out of you, and for some reason I went back, and then I got it kicked out of me
Mhm.
again, and for some reason I went back, and it's just back there was something, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the mysticism of all the Bruce Lee movies I watched or whatever else. Maybe it was having friends that started with me, but it is different now.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it's a lot of different ways to approach it, because I teach to the younger groups, like the kids, and a
Mhm.
lot of them, very unfortunately so, come in with like bullying issues and stuff like that. So like
Mhm.
violence is in the back of their mind, but then we also have to teach it in a way that, like, and schools have these zero tolerance policies, and I'll tell kids, like, whatever the agreement is you have with your parents, you need to figure that out first. But like me as your instructor, if somebody's trying to throw hands at you and you settle that so that you don't get hurt and then go away to safety and tell somebody that needs to know that thing, I'm cool, because I'm not
Right.
teaching anybody to get hurt. But and I think this is where my shift is going through this year. And I think this is why this question is a really good one, is
Mhm.
even myself with the studio, is like we've been a martial arts studio that we offers qigong also. And I'm trying to shift the tone of, I'm still teaching martial arts, I'm still teaching qigong, but like this is a wellness thing. Like
Mhm. Mhm.
this is your
Mhm.
health. This
Mhm.
is you coming down from your high stress levels. This is,
Mhm.
giving your brain some happy chemicals. This is a community of people that You want to punch in the face for fun, not at work when it's not appropriate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. And that's kind of how, where it is through a certain lens, it is violent, but in another lens, it's not. It's a way to improve. Something else that I constantly think about that kind of to links into this is like when martial arts and Qigong and all those were kind of like, before the history of television and humans had nothing
Mm-hmm.
better to do besides experience their environment and figure out ways to get better and better at experiencing their environment or, not be extinguished from it, hence the fighting aspect of it. That's what they were doing, getting super efficient at what they
Mm-hmm.
did, whether it would be just, meditating, doing the Qigong, enjoying nature, having their body, like, reaching whatever state they want to. Now, what are we doing with martial arts? We're trying to avoid, the mugger scenario that way every single stupid victim mentality ad for take my self-defense classes. Sorry, guys, to do that, but like, I'm sick of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sick of the world like seeming like that when it's probably a smaller percentage than we say it is, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the reality is we're not using it for as much of the violent stuff or the let's experience the world better so much as coming down to a baseline, getting
Mm-hmm.
back to like I can feel my own feelings now because I'm not so oversensitized to everything else going on. So
Absolutely.
people aren't using, for in my opinion, in my personal opinion, for the most part, except for the nerds like you and I and all the other ones out there who know who they are, and I have classes for that, right? What does this form do? How do we spar better? But as a
Mm-hmm.
whole, I feel like most people are looking for different ways to just, escape, come back to their baseline,
For
find
sure.
themselves again. And
For
like what
sure.
I say, like my tagline for the school, develop your best self. Your best self isn't sitting in a cubicle stressing out about what your manager and what day they want their TPS reports at whatever time by the end of the, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yes, I will reference weird movies and your viewers will be like, haha, I got that one. But like that's kind of like that's how I feel right now. Like we're not even using
Mm-hmm.
martial arts for what it was intended to in the beginning. And that's the evolution and that's how like as long as it's still here, right? But like I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's how I'm trying to present is like it's a movement practice. Like it's all movement practice. It's a de-stressful practice, right? Can you can you use it? Absolutely, you can use it for self-defense if that's your thing. So that's how I'm trying to encompass more people is not just like throwing a martial art at them so much as
Mm-hmm.
like, people are just if you want to, maybe I hate gyms. I hate going to lifting weights and doing all that stuff.
Same. I mean, I do
And,
it.
but you do it. But like there's some people that like would rather they want to work out, but it's a different way. But they might not want to learn
Mm-hmm.
all that, all those forms and stuff. So you gotta like, hey, no, really, this is cool. And for me, that's how to do it. Like, we're reducing your stress level, we're increasing your physical fitness level, right? We've got a community here, right? And those kind of take away from the violent aspect of it, right? I'm still teaching violence.
Man,
I'm
I
still
love
showing the moves. I'm still showing the patterns. I'm still showing the techniques. But
grading
it's like a Mr. Miyagi thing at this point. I got to kind of trick them into doing the stuff.
for sure. Do you articulate that to your students in any capacity? Like, have you started saying those words to your students in an attempt to change the climate of the school?
I do, especially in like the warm ups,
Mm-hmm.
and then as we go on. And the way I try to do that is to show them how we only have like so many movements that we do and how they're
Mm-hmm.
linked.
Mm-hmm.
So like I present it as more of a movement practice, so to speak, than like a martial or a qigong or whatever. And sometimes I don't even like, if you're wearing a karate uniform, you're doing karate. But if you're coming
Right.
in sweats and a t-shirt and we're doing qigongs, like sometimes I don't even say that. We're just, lifting
Right.
your arms and breathing this way and moving this way. And oh, don't you feel better? And they go, oh yeah, I do. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And for things like, I mean, it could even be like a lot of people know what martial arts are, and I feel like qigong and those internal arts are getting more popular. But again, what's happening in the world? We're overstimulated, we're stressed out. Why is it
I
becoming
had
popular?
noticed.
Because yeah, right. So there's a lot of people doing these type of these more relaxing arts, these meditative arts, if you will, these movement arts like that. And I'll scroll through the reels and stuff like that, and so like they won't say it, but they're doing it, right? They're doing qigong, like they're doing a set that you might recognize it if you're in, if you already practice. So that's kind
Hmm.
of what we have to do that now. Like we have to show people like, this is fun stuff to do, and this is, this is our method. And that's all we're really showing people, right? We're just showing a method.
The reason I asked that is because the way that you articulated it really resonated with me, and it feels
Okay.
like not even telling you what to do. It feels like changing the climate in your school in that capacity. And then as you approach new students, whether that be like, ads or whatever, like that feels like you've struck gold and you just need to keep mining. That's all I'm saying
Right.
about that.
Yeah, no, and absolutely, and that's like, and this, yeah, and that's kind of what I'm looking for, in probably why I babble so much, is I'm looking for the language to like people know karate, but, and I think that's what I'm having, like I'm working to get it to like those people that go like, I just couldn't do karate. I'm like, but you can.
Right.
Like, I'm just doing this, and so showing the students, and I think spending more time on the basic stuff, that's probably that is the most important things, like the
Hmm.
foundationals, the how you stand, how you move, and hyper focus, and not hyper, but we're bringing more focus to that, even if like the higher ranks, so that they understand like that's the core, like that's the
Hmm.
movement there, and then showing the branches. So I think that's kind of how I'm, especially with the newer ones, is like making sure that I'm really defining like what these core movements are and what they can do. So then when we go like,
Hmm.
okay, this is martial. So if you step, and then this step that we've worked on for a couple weeks now, look at how stable you are. Now look, add this thing as this person approaches you. And like the guy looks and goes, oh, how did I put him on the floor? I'm like, these are the pieces falling together. So it's just
Hmm.
giving them, but if they never do that self-defense stuff, at least that
Hmm.
person's walking with confidence down the street.
Right.
And like I did something, I did a blog about like, the most common self-defense is like we work on safe falling. I tell my students
Hmm.
all the time, like, I
Hmm.
don't care if you ever fight. I don't want you to ever fight. Fighting sucks.
Hmm.
Outside of the fun environment that we do it, it's awful. Like it hurts. Like you don't know
Hmm.
what's, half the time that, you're lucky if you both walk away. Like I don't want to fight. If I have to fight, it's going to be ugly. Like it's the, if I have to get to that resort, that's bad.
Hmm.
But you fall down. I mean, I don't know how many times, I mean, I fall up the stairs,
Right.
trip, but it's icy here. So things like safe falling, stability, being able to catch your balance, like that's all included in our art. So like really beginning with and making sure that people understand like that's what we're doing first,
Hmm.
including like the kids that think they can jump 50 feet up in the air and do a 540 kick. Awesome.
Right.
You will go on to do great things, but you're not getting
Right.
up that high until you work on that leg strength. Right. So
For
stuff like
sure.
that.
For real, you got the wording. You just need to like hone in on it. I think that's great.
Hmm.
Okay, so now I'm gonna scoot this back so that I have a little bit more room. So I've started a new concept that I worked on. I taught a little bit of it at Marshall Summit last year. I'm gonna teach another session on it this coming year. And I have just titled it Free to Flow. In my own practice, I have stopped using the term relaxed. I have also, and the reason that I stopped using the term relax, it confuses the new student. If you get a brand new student in and you say relax while they're standing there and they feel relatively relaxed, you
What
know?
happens to your partner if you tell her to relax? You're going to get slapped across the face and nobody's relaxing now. It's like telling them to calm down.
Right. But if you tell a brand new student to relax, they're like, I don't quite understand how to relax
Right. Yeah.
while also standing up. So like muscles are engaged. I realize that I'm not relaxed
Hmm.
into entirety. So I don't use the word relax. I use free to flow. I want to maintain a space and an energy where I'm free to flow. So I
Hmm.
also like I haven't been using the word yielding because of some of the connotations that come with it.
Okay. Right.
Now see the goal here is this. My thesis statement is, or my hypothesis is, that if you can teach someone to yield quicker, those students that come through our doors that are only here to learn how to defend themselves, they are not in a school long enough to really learn true martial arts, like yielding principles. Like I've been doing martial arts for 32 years and I'm still learning stuff about yielding.
Right.
That's a lifelong journey. But if I can get somebody 6-month introduction to
Hmm.
where they have it conceptually, I think that does more for somebody out in the streets in the event that they'd have to use it than any other, block, punch, kick that I could teach
Hmm.
them. Right. And so the concept started from that seed and then germinated here in this. Okay. If we look at a traditional Kung Fu yield where I would block and yield with the energy,
Mm-hmm.
as I have yielded with the energy, this is now bound up. So now I only have this side that I can use to combat with until I work my way back around here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so what we're trying to do is this: if an attack comes in and I've hit, I yield in such a way that I just redirect. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm working on. Now, talk to me about the Korean aspects of yielding and how you teach yielding.
And this is a lot of, see, I've been making a lot of transitions in the way that I practice,
Love it. Love
especially
it.
in the latter half of these. And this is like probably within the last 5 years, I've been getting more and more. So the majority of my Korean like Tong Soo practice, it's very rigid. And while we're described as a like a hard soft style,
Mm-hmm.
the way it was usually taught or mostly taught um is more of the hard style aspect of it with, little aspects of the soft. To give a to give a point, maybe a descriptive point is some people that know martial arts would watch us practice and go, "Oh, you're doing Shotokan." And I would go, "No, but yes."
Well, I mean, it's the I don't have very much experience with Tang Soo Do. I'll start there. But it's a Korean equivalent of a karate, right? Of a traditional, you
Yes.
know,
And
yeah,
without getting into the history and ruffling
right.
feathers of people that still believe certain things and arguing, and then this is why I hate, and this is like, as an aside, the amount of arguing martial arts do about stupid shit is
There's
holding us
no
back.
ruffled
Like,
feathers on Facebook
oh, no, never. No, never. But yeah,
or
the amount of
Reddit. I don't know
arguing,
if you've ever been
yeah,
on Reddit, but a good thing to do on Reddit is leave.
yeah. Yeah, like they'll fight over like how your pinky toe should be positioned in this form based on like this instructor said this that one time on that thing I translated from that what was barely translatable from that dead language that I think he said on that afternoon from this person who said it third hand. I'm your mother's brother's cousin's sister's cousin's roommate or whatever. No, sorry. But anyway, but within the last 5 years, so like I've really been leaning into like the Qigong stuff and a lot
Mm-hmm.
of it is, years of because a lot of the Korean style is, and like we have them too, like these crazy jump spin kicks and stuff. And I started when I was
Mm-hmm.
15. Of course I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Bet. Like we're, one of our favorite things to do when I was one of the beginning years as a student is like our friends would just get the heavy bag at the end of the run real fast, jump, do these triple kicks like idiots, and like they're not usable at all, but they're fun to do, right? So those fun athletic things were fun to do. But as I get older, I attribute the fact that I kept doing them. So like,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm teaching jump wheel kick to a student now, like I can still demonstrate it because I've done jump wheel kick for 30 years and my body has adjusted as it goes on. But I've also recognized that I'm not 20 anymore and I have to pay
Mm-hmm.
attention to certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe, as we were all wrongly taught to do a low block to blast a kick out of the way isn't really the way we should be doing it. And
Mm-hmm.
now that as you mature, you realize that's, not what that was intended for. But so looping this back into like the yielding and aspects, like,
Mm-hmm.
so with that hard foundational, like I'm structure first,
Yes.
solid. And I'm sure like all the other arts are in a way of that too. So like for me, you're not yielding, you're not allowing, you're not doing anything until you're on the ground. Because if you try to allow or yield or whatever you want to refer to it as, and
Mm-hmm.
somebody's bowling through you and you're not like in a structure that will allow it without you having stability, you're going down. So it's that first, and then the generation of being in that structure, and then the movement to able to allow. So
Mm-hmm.
it's always like, so I practice the movement through it.
Mm-hmm.
And as I get more and more into like more of the qigong, it's like I'm trying to be more fluid and maybe take more steps. So rather than just like go from A to B, realize that as I slowed it down, hey, there's a like a version 2 or whatever you want to call it, or an A step 2 into your B before you go, to make that more fluid and pay attention to that movement.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm breaking basic down a little bit more, even more so than I have
Mm-hmm.
for that. But I don't really like the yield terminology as well. Like I get it, but like I
It
do like the
feels
term
like it's a
allow.
word. It
Right.
feel allows.
I like allow because if you get past this, I'm allowing you to do it, or like I like to think so, right? So if you're in control of that aspect of protecting yourself, I'm not yielding to. I'm allowing you to do that, so you can be shown why that was a bad idea,
Mm-hmm.
right? So and that's kind of loops in too, because like the way like Tong Soo is described in our student manual is like a circular defense with a straight and attack to a vital spot. I mean, we were taught, throughout the early years that like it's supposed to be like those one shot knockouts, and we know it's
Mm-hmm.
not. But like that's
Right.
the idea. And like, yeah, that would be the idea. Like I said, I don't want to fight. It sucks. So if I can like divert and destroy immediately and get out to safety, like that's what I'm gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's I don't think of yielding. I think of it more of allowing. So it's establish your structure, own it, allow them to do what they think they need to do, so that you can go through and do what you need to do for
Mm-hmm.
that. Did that answer your question? I just kind of just
That no, that
tangent again.
that answers
Okay.
the question.
Yeah.
That's great. Allow really is interesting because, like Steven said, that he doesn't use the term yielding so much and is using terms like listening. You
Mm-hmm.
know, because
Mm-hmm.
like he says, he's doing his push hands, he's not yielding. He's just listening, seeing what the other person reveals as they
Right.
push, as they back
Right.
and forth.
And I think you're onto something too, like with him saying listening, and it's it goes back to that kind of relationship thing. We're communicating,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if we're like in fight, I'm communicating with you in not so many words, but now it's a body communication. And I think this is where the sensitivity comes in, and kind of where it loops into like earlier, I was saying like humans, when they were doing this stuff, like for keeps, they were
Mm-hmm.
they were communicating fast,
Right,
so they
right,
didn't
right,
get
right.
hit. And it was who could miscommunicate to the other one in the
Mm-hmm.
most convincing way, so that they can get their message through.
Right, for sure.
So that's really what a fight is. Right? We're
Mm-hmm.
communicating, but there's deception. There's a lot. Go ahead, you say what you want, right? Well, here, this is my point, and that's kind of how.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, listening is a good way to put it too, because if that's what he's doing, he's listening for his opportunity, or he's listening to where he can interject, or he's listening to where they might have stuck their foot in their mouth, so to speak. And that's
Mm-hmm.
a good way to that's a nice way to present it as well, where
Mm-hmm.
it's even making me think like, so okay, like if I'm in a sparring match, like I'm not so much watching as listening, and listening is more things, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
for me,
Listening is
listening
more.
isn't just the ear. I mean, it implies mostly ears, but like
Mm-hmm.
I'm still watching. Right? There's that,
Mm-hmm.
like there's an encompassing listening for me. Is like listening is this everything for me. How does your skin
Yeah,
feel?
there's a
Did the air
visual
did the
thing.
air
There's a
change?
feel.
Right? Like there's a lot going on there.
Mm-hmm. Man, as a quick aside, you're older than me? Question mark.
I could be. I'm
Could be
47.
7.
Yeah.
You are older than me. Congratulations
Well,
on
thanks.
looking young, being, moving, and feeling young. That comes up on this podcast a couple of times, which is why I wanted to address it. I'm
Okay.
42, and people are
Okay.
usually shocked to know that I'm 42. I imagine people are shocked to know that you're 47.
Yeah, absolutely. My students love guessing what my age is, and I always thank them. They're like, "Oh, what are you, 26?" I'm like, "Thanks, kid. You're the best."
Yeah, right. You're the best student.
But even adults
Number
like
one,
they
gold
don't believe
star.
us sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. I've been carded before.
I haven't been carded in a while. I think it's the beard. I've got enough gray in my beard to look old enough to buy.
Yeah, I get less carded now when the hair's grown out because because
Mm-hmm.
the it's in. But when I get my hair cut, we get back to there's no way. But that just that's a quick aside. But I do consider martial art, when practiced the way that you spoke about earlier, it becomes the fountain of youth. When it is a movement practice,
Right.
when the primary, yes, there is a secondary fighting aspect to the art. Always there's the underlining component, but the primary component being, can I move well? I do think that that like really that's the key to the youthful experience, in my
And I
opinion.
feel like that's a part that we're missing a lot. And like how many, I don't know if you've heard like those old stories like where people believe that like the old masters were hiding things from people or just enough things.
Right.
I
Right.
think part of it that's it, because like people thought what they wanted was to learn like this awesome fighting system, but they didn't realize that that person that was teaching that fighting system was also doing that other stuff, that healing art,
Hmm.
that recovery stuff, that eating proper foods, the get like they're doing the all the things, not just going to the dojo or whatever you call your version of it every single day and then beating the snot out of each other in a heavy bag. They were going home
Hmm.
and resting and recovering and moving in a way that would provide healing as well. Like there's a yin and a yang. It's not just yang it is smashing into things all the time. But what do you do when you see most martial arts? That's what you
Hmm.
see, that's what's presented. And I think that's like what I'd really like to see going forward, and find, and for all of us that teach other people, is find ways to draw people into all aspects of it. Like get them
Mm.
in for the stuff that they think is cool. Like, okay, you like the qigong part, awesome, I'm happy for you, and your brain is happy and you're moving and you're limber. We can add a little bit more here with so here's the martial side, here's your other side. Oh, you like this smashing things, cool, you're limping a little bit, so let's go do this for a little bit and balance this out and then do this.
Hmm.
So I mean, I in my my martial arts classes, I'm always sneaking the qigong in there, because
Hmm.
it's part of it, where I'm showing them like, hey, this move is also like this move in a way,
Hmm.
or this move is like, it's like they're all connected. So we either have like the defensive one or the healing version of it.
Hmm.
It's all there. And I think if more people see all sides of that picture, there'll be
Hmm.
more people that not only will be inspired to do it, but also
Hmm.
continue the practice a little bit more in depth. And that's been
Hmm.
like another thing, in addition to the more and more soft side, since I've been so like hard style dominant for the most part, is having that all encompassing thing, trying to get people to see like
Hmm.
all of it, not just like the one or the other.
Right. Love that. I would like you to talk to me a little bit more about the Korean internal arts, because I don't have a lot of knowledge or experience with, Korean Qigong or Korean, so.
I'm gonna be brutally honest. I
Mhm.
don't think in all the stuff that I've done so far, other than changing the terminology to reflect that of Korean terminology or
Mhm.
vocabulary, there's not a difference in
Really?
like I mean I'm kind of looking to my texts and the different things, and there's been every if it's if it comes from an organizational standpoint where they're like setting levels and things like that, of
Mhm.
course they have to standardize things and the standards are different, but like I don't feel, and somebody can fact check me and tell me I'm wrong on a later podcast or like send a comment or whatever, but in my personal experience so far, and this is why I love like talking to Steve and talking to you and talking to Tommy, because they have like they're more straight from the source, so to speak. I don't feel
Yes.
as if there's any difference in the Korean internal arts
Mhm.
than there is the Chinese. And let's be honest, all of these places, they've
Yes.
been trading forever. It's like
Mhm.
saying an Irish person isn't Scottish a little bit.
Mhm. Mhm.
Not to
Man,
offend,
you just
again,
made some.
not to offend any Scots and Irish. I have Scotch Irish blood. And you know why I do? Because they went back and forth all the time, doing
Mhm.
things to each other. So,
Right.
Genghis Khan was a thing, wars were a thing, political influence was a thing.
Mhm. Well,
They're all
I will
mixed. And I
send
don't feel like
every
Koreans, honestly,
Doyle.
unfortunately, Koreans have a whole lot of their own identity.
Right. I'm gonna send every Doyle Irish stick fighting guy that I know that comments on this video. I'm send them
It's going to be
straight to you.
excellent. What are you talking? I've got it.
Love that. Okay, so now I have a bunch of little lightning round type
Oh
questions that I
boy.
like. I
Gotta
like
think
that.
fast.
Well, you take all the time you want. I love long form answers. The first answer, or the first question, most of these are kind of loaded. So just to let you know, if
Sure.
if there's somebody that is not practicing martial arts, that is happening to watch this podcast, and they have now gotten 52 minutes into our conversation. And the reason I say that is because, like, yeah, we talked about martial arts, but guess what? We also talked about business. We talked about health. We talked about just
Mhm.
basic movement. This is not a podcast just for martial artists. Everybody's welcome. And I do hope that, like, somebody can glean something from it. If somebody's watching this that has not done martial arts and is thinking about it, what advice do you give them?
Honestly, I'd ask them a question first. What are you waiting for?
Okay.
And it's
Good.
like, you get a lot of these, and I'm sure you've heard them too. It's having students or trying to get people to be students where it's like, oh, well, I'll wait till I get better in shape. I'll wait till I this. I'm like, you don't ask a kid to get smarter before getting in school. That's why they're there.
Mm-hmm.
What are you waiting for? Most schools offer some sort of at least low ball trial, if not a free one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
just go do it. Just go do it.
Right.
Because the longer you hem and haw about doing it, anything, and I've learned that lesson just as much as anyone else in various things.
Mm-hmm.
That's the time you've lost an experience you could have had leading up to that point.
Absolutely.
And it's the same advice I did with like this 15-year thing coming up. Like I started doing all the work for it to get the actual open house part. Probably a
Mm-hmm.
little late, but I kept telling myself the best next time to start is now.
Right.
Not
Right.
tomorrow, not in a week from now, not when I feel ready. There's no such thing as feeling ready. Not
Mm-hmm.
as there. I've never felt ready for anything. Not a single damn thing.
You probably don't
Like
feel
I've
ready
trained for
for your
things,
15th year of teaching.
right? Like I've trained for things. I've felt. I don't know if ready is like not felt ready, but like I felt secure in my ability to handle it. But like to
Mm-hmm.
say
Mm-hmm.
ready to go, like
Mm-hmm.
not there. Like not a thing. Like humans, I think humans have forgot how to human.
We for sure have forgotten how to human. Okay. What do you think the average practitioner neglects in their martial arts practice?
I honestly think they forget to just like stay consistent with their basics.
Mm.
They get those, and I've done it. You get that new technique, that new thing. You pick up a new weapon, and after a while, you forgot that new thing really requires those basics to be down.
Sure.
And
Let's.
that's all the advanced stuff ever is. It's just
Mm-hmm.
basic piled on top of basic done faster than this because I've done it more times.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that those that are kind of astray, they have forgotten like it's the stuff that you're learning within those first few months. You have to
Mm-hmm.
keep doing it. You have to get better at it because that's what's going to make everything else better.
Excellent. The last one of the lightning round is if you could give every martial arts practitioner one lesson, technique, philosophy, concept, piece of advice, what would it be?
I think it's one that I have to remind myself and get better at actually doing.
Mm-hmm.
Find a way to like frequently, and I'm not going to say every day. Like we all would love to do every day, but like things happen frequently,
Mm-hmm.
consistently, but also don't beat yourself up when something happens that you can't get to that because injuries happen, illnesses happen, family emergencies happen, because that's also your training looping
Preach.
back in, you being
Preach.
able to do that. And then my third part of that is, and this is the one I struggle with the most, is we love martial arts, but you need something else.
Mm-hmm.
Like you need something else. And I snowboard, not as much as I'd like to. I disc golf. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I have other things that I enjoy. I've lately gotten into doing paracord bracelets, like a teenager just discovered a new
That's
hobby
cool.
again. But it's fun. It's something else for my brain. It's something else for my dexterity, and it's just a creative outlet, if you will. It can be meditative, whatever. But like I think you definitely need to find a way to train consistently and frequently, but you also need that other side as
Mm-hmm.
well. That's because and the martial arts might be your only thing, but it
Mm-hmm.
usually isn't. Let's be honest. Like I don't think I've met anybody that was their only thing. Like, and for a while,
Right,
I thought
right,
it was my only thing, but as I look back, it never was my only thing.
right, right. What's interesting about that is that's so very traditional of you. You know, traditionally, if a student was having problems with a sword, they'd be like, go paint, go paint, or trouble with grappling. go learn to do pottery. When I did have a school in Lexington some very many years ago, if they were having problems with cardio, it'd be like, hey, we're gonna go play indoor soccer. We're gonna go play tennis. I'm not gonna make them run because now they're thinking about the cardio. I'm
Right.
gonna give them a game. Let them do the game instead.
But it's a
So,
modern way to think of it as a modern way too. Like, what do you do when you have two options when your workday isn't going well at your laptop. Maybe you've got a bunch of tech issues. You can slam your computer off the desk, which I've thought of doing many times, or you can get up and walk away. Go for a walk, train for a little
third
bit,
option
draw a
is
picture.
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT is my very underpaid assistant. We're not
Right.
gonna dog ChatGPT. He, whatever we want to call it, it does a very fine job for me on a regular basis.
Same for me. Absolutely. Well, I keep these at about an hour, man, and it's flown by.
Yeah, holy cow.
Is there? Yeah, it's already come and gone. They were just wonderful. Is there anything that you didn't get a chance to say that you would like to say?
I don't know. We covered a lot of stuff. It was a cool
Yeah.
conversation.
That's the point where I make somebody remember what they've said for the past hour.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, we've covered a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Don't mean to deter anybody that wants to open their own martial arts business, because
Mm-hmm.
we need,
More.
in my opinion, there's no such thing as too many in like whatever overset, because everybody's going to teach a little bit differently.
Absolutely.
And I think we need more of us that are finding more different people to involve in the martial arts. And I think that's like, if there's more instructors willing to put themselves out there
Mm-hmm.
and draw in more students, it'll
Mhm.
increase the number of students. And it's like, yeah, you're going to go, duh, but there's that personality thing. Not everybody that comes through my doors is going to click with me. And
Mhm.
if they don't, that's great. I wish them the best. I hope they find an instructor that works with them, and then their martial arts career flourishes in that way. But
Mhm.
I think, like, to those listening, they're like, oh man, he's got it rough. I'm like, I didn't do it the smartest way. You guys can do better than me. But I would encourage anybody that is even thinking about it, like, do enough research to make yourself feel, a little bit comfortable, more confident. You've got
Mhm.
the know-how, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Just do it. And
Mm.
then, and then for that student, like, well, that the lightning round question, just stop hemming and hawing. Just do it.
Absolutely. Where can the people find you?
Oh, so many
If you want to be
places.
found.
Oh, I would love to be found. You can search JNUM Training Academy. You'll find our Facebook page. We have Instagram. We have a YouTube channel.
I'll
You can
put the
follow. I
links in the
mean,
bio.
yeah, and you can follow my personal ones as well. Sometimes they're more exciting, sometimes they're not. I'm sorry if you see my
Mhm.
algorithm and you're like, what the heck is in this guy? Disc golf, snowboarding, and martial arts. There's a lot of stuff going on in there.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook as well. I don't have a personal YouTube channel. Like, keeping the studios is enough. Going is enough for
Mhm.
me. But yeah, and then if you ever yeah, that's it. Socials are pretty much the way to go to get a hold of me. I'm not going to give my personal information.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so I thank all of my guests for taking the time. Time is very precious and important. I appreciate that you took the time. Also, thank you, because now that you've had this conversation, and even prior in Martial Summit, I met you. You taught me some things. You're part of my martial arts journey, whether you like it or not, and
Awesome.
I thank you for that.
Appreciate it.
I will also say I still do that set that you taught at Martial Summit.
Awesome.
Look forward to
Excellent.
reconnecting next year when we get to that point. To my audience, thank you guys for listening. And as always, keep kicking.